Now, everyone need to realize that nothing but heat is a 6-part video. 6 portions. 6 of the darndest portions. You know what I'm saying about? Ooh. Let me tell you, when I the phone and said Canina, no, put a fume in front of it, came out, I said, wow. Wow, oh my golly, that was fast. Furious. You know what I'm talking about? Some of y'all didn't realize that that was clarification. That was clarification for the public to view. Part 2 of that video is on the donation tier. That one. That's 6 parts. 6. It's only covering a few groups. How the industry tie into it? Y'all heard somebody say, get down or you gonna lay down? Time warp. Wait. It's work being put in. Ali, I said, free. Work. Whoa. You can sample that. Yeah, I'm talking about. Will I do a feature? Yeah, but not for free. He said either you is cold with it. I am. Burr. Like polar bear. Punani. You know what I'm talking about? She do. It's hot cha-cha up in them mugs. Uggs, you know what I'm talking about? You know what I know about spandex? It gets sweaty up in there, you know. Ooey. It be sweaty and musty. Yeah, I'm not talking about. That is not a polar bear. Burr. Snatch. Is that like pink salmon or what is that? Yeah, I like. I just seen it. Oh, I think that's like salmon pink or something. Oh, wait. Oh. I can dissect videos. Ew. Listen. Let's just make a hook. She had on salmon pink and that ooty stink. You know what I'm talking about? Is it a good thing or a bad thing? Just like that. Now those of you, everybody that seen the video know what I'm talking about. Listen. I'm just saying, you know. Burr. Bruh. Listen, y'all. Sometimes I be chilling and marinating, you know what I'm saying? And just be random smells, you know what I'm talking about? And you gotta be like, is that me? And then after a while, if your spiritual spouse don't say nothing, you be like, that's you. Y'all know, the big G don't be playing. Listen, the big G will tell you once, and that's it. The rest is self-explanatory. You're gonna have to go through it. You know, he don't tell me nothing, absolutely nothing. I just gotta go through it, you know. But the men, because this paradigm shift was for the men, not the women, not the females, not the males, for the men. Even if that means you are a boy to a man instantly. It was for the men. I've already talked about this. If your spiritual spouse is like me, they not saying nothing. You know? They're just like, all right. They just gonna watch everything and just decide on which HELL razor they want. The real ones. That's what they say, you know. Because when you are next in line, you know, certain Enikinas feel like you're not a real one yet. I mean, you know, you're not a part of the original class. You know, they're gonna pop that collar on you. And they gonna say, I told you that was my wife. Just like that, in that voice. They smooth with it. You can say they've been there, done that. You know, yeah. Some, literally. They've been there and done that already. So it don't matter, you know. They know that ooty stay. But whatever. Listen, if y'all want me to put a rush on a video, because I'm doing several projects at one time, now y'all see what I'm talking about. Because what you're seeing is being posted, but you don't see what's happening behind the scenes. I'm gonna open it up for viewer donated pool. That means if you are a celebrity, just have your wop donate. And let's see what come out. Now, some of y'all noticed that producer card that I got. Y'all seen it was on the fence, right? That was a membership reading from 6 months ago. You see the marble table. You know I don't have no marble tables no more. You know what I'm talking about? 6 months. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm saying? How does it feel to not have your marble tables? I just feel like, you know what? You know what I say? It lessens the blow. It was cheap anyway. Just like that. Cause I can't. I could strap a marble table to my hood, but that's not feasible and copacetic. So it's like, y'all know what I learned from that? I learned that I don't need all that stuff. That's not the first time. Like, my whole life, and some of y'all gonna notice this, I've been having to just leave my stuff. I done left so much stuff. It's been so much of my stuff auctioned off, like a lot of elect ones. Because that's what happened. When you leave your stuff in the storage unit, they auction it off. If you leave it in a domain, they either estate sell it, depending on what it is, or it goes in the trash. Y'all know that. If you know that you done had a lot of stuff, like him for instance, I said to my Asakina, the archangels, he took all them crushed diamonds out of his teeth, right? And then I thought about it. I said, well, either his enamel was rotten, or maybe they were caps, because in the skull, right, Frisco, like 40 years ago, you could go buy the caps. You know what I'm saying? It was real cheap. It was real gold too, but they were real cheap. So I imagine you could have crushed diamonds on caps. Because if you got that stuff installed onto your enamel, then the only way to get it out is to pull all your teeth out. Now the real expensive gold, you cannot tell that they are cast because it looks solid. Y'all know what I'm talking about. It's like 24K or higher. So it's like you can't tell that they are caps. I said, ain't nobody gonna buy nobody gold teeth. You know what I'm saying? Unless they like a teenager. Teenagers do stuff like that. High schoolers. If somebody misplaced their gold teeth, it's because you placed them in the view of somebody that took them, right? And then the angels say, he didn't even say nothing. He just took his stuff back. Imagine that. Imagine you go to somebody's pad, right? And they forget that they stole your gold teeth. They happen to leave the teeth sitting on the table. And say if I was that person, I just sat down and I look and I see my gold teeth and I just say, snatch. And then we just continue on out like everything is copacetic and feasible. And I leave. The person that took it said, where my teeth at? And the archangel say, he took his teeth back. Listen, it's some of y'all right now realizing that you had some gold somewhere and somebody done snatched it and you done forgot about it. Now, if you bought some teeth when you was in high school and you don't know where they at, it is because you dropped them. And when you forgot that you had them, you realized it because I just said something about it. Now, I remember growing up, right? And the thing about the gold teeth movement is, for my era, some individuals didn't want no cap. They wanted it plated on their enamel. You know, my era didn't know at the time that when you have gold on your enamel, it rotted. You know, that's something you learn from experience, decades. That type of information comes from experience, knowledge, knowing the ledge, right? So caps is a good thing. The reason why it's important is because some of us believe when we buy things that that is an investment. Stuff like gold is not an investment. A lot of y'all know that. Some is yet to figure that out because they haven't went off in no pawn shop. You can spend $10,000 on something and get $50, $200 for it because they gonna go in there. They gonna put the glass thing on their eye. Some of them, and they gonna say this is not 18. This is not 24. You know, this is aluminum or plated or something that's under there and it's not solid. It's not all the way through. It's just not heavy enough. You know, we get finessed a lot of times when we go to these jewelers because we don't know what real gold looks like. I had the pleasure of going to the Mint. Some of y'all don't even know what that is. As a child, on a field trip. I don't even know if it's still open. But in there they had real pure gold. Blocks of it. Like, that's real gold. We're not getting that when we go to these jewelers. Y'all need to understand that. So we're going in there and we're spending real money and getting fake gold. Diamonds are crystals. Y'all know that, right? So it's like we think it's diamonds are a higher class of rocks because that's what crystals are. So it's like, because we don't do the research to know what we buying. Like, like some of those beads that I wore early, that's not real crystal beads. They advertise it as that, but you're not getting that. Now that stone, that amethyst that I had, all of them amethyst stones that I had were real. On the other side of that amethyst rock is proof that it's a rock. When they talking about smooth and stuff and everything like that, they getting all that off. The outside of an amethyst, which is similar to a ruby, is like you would say it look like cement. It look like a rock. So it's like a lot of people feel like they're not into spiritual stuff, but you are. You just buying a dupe of the original. We don't have real diamonds. We don't have real gold. And we don't have real copper. I don't believe I was born in the era where any of that was real. It was diluted. That is for the originals. This is why when you see uh, furniture dealers say mahogany, real mahogany, it's not real because the tree is not real. It's not an original. It's a dupe. It's a hybrid. That's what we getting. Y'all got to understand that you can formulate a crystal in your own domain. People do it all the time when they sell you jewelry. You can sit there and watch a crystal form. You know, it's important because a lot of us got high priced junk. And we don't know that it's junk because we're not around people that are authenticate things. They'll tell you. I mean, the proof is in all of this designer stuff. As we evolve, we figure out how to duplicate things so they look more like the original. Y'all do know that in some of these stores, you have to be invited in to purchase their stuff. Imagine that. You got to be on the A list to get something that's really worth something. And then who are you going to sell it to? Like, you know what I'm saying? Time warp. I mean, so when someone asks me how I feel about losing stuff, having to leave stuff, as long as I got something to replace it, it don't matter. Because you can take some things with you if the big G allows it, but not demise. When you are deceased, you can't do that. Nothing goes with you. So somebody gonna get it. There are people that go to estate sales, but they not finna go off where I was living at. They want mansions and castles. They want that type of stuff because they figure that they gonna have the real stuff there. None of these celebrities and wealthy individuals are purchasing stuff like upholstered furniture. You know what I'm saying? Like not like the stuff that I had. They may get upholstered furniture, but not like the stuff I have. They know where to go to get the real stuff, the stuff that's gonna last. You know. So it's like I'm not a part of that circle. I don't run with those. I don't run with the wealthy, and none of y'all do either. You may feel like you do, but like Persian rugs and things of that stuff. That stuff don't be Persian. You'll know if you step on a Persian rug. You know, it's important because we spend a lot of money on stuff that the person that's selling it know is not authentic. And at the end of it, you know you taking penitentiary chances and you know and, and 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 on the verge of demise for something that's not even real. Like I imagine somebody that snatches somebody's chain know where to sell it. Who gonna buy it? Who want it? First of all, could you imagine somebody just sitting there like shopping off of what they see on TV? I want that. Like the Home Shopping Network. You know what I'm talking about? They see a rap like Young Thug or something. They see something he got on and say, I want that. I imagine that's how it is in certain groups. So they sit back and politic about who got their chain snatched and why, and that's not conducive of your health. I'm not gonna be a part of that. you know I'm not open. First and foremost, I don't go to any functions like that. That's not my crowd. That's dangerous. you know my era, the when the streetwalkers would go to functions like that, they would have something up that snatch. You know what I'm talking about? The pop, the cap, pew pew. You know what I'm talking about? You're not gonna see me up in none of that. That's not conducive of my health and well-being. My nerves be too bad. You know? What is that? Oh, that's just a firecracker. A real one. Could be that female or a pew pew. I'm not finna talk about that. There was some speculation about what I actually got capped with. You know, and I'm talking about this was happening in other cities. You know, before I could even say anything. You know what I'm saying? Oh no, I didn't talk to the. It wasn't nobody to talk to. You know how normal that is in the town. I mean, I don't know. I didn't know who that was. What am I tell them? I don't do that. It wasn't nobody to tell what happened. When you're in a situation like that, you only with one person. The person that cares about you gonna be right there or on their way. Y'all don't understand. It's like in the town, it's not like I got capped now. You know, all these people finna come talk to me. Yeah, what? You gotta call them. You know, like he did. That's why, you know, he went hot tail. She said, "Tail, that's what you be doing every day, all day long. Right now, you got a card in your back pocket." Say I'm lying. I am not the one to play with. This one feel like because he's being monitored by Jizzy Buzzell, that he can just say whatever he want to say, and all a certain fraction of Dinasa is going to repeat it, and he feel like he is the master at something. Like, you know, my readings are about you, not for you. You understand what I'm saying? They're about you, about what you do. They're not for you. Like, no, none of these entertainers that I talked about, you wouldn't even think about playing them like that. If you feel like they really from the hood or not, because you not. You from Petaluma. Like, imagine, like, is there any hoods in Petaluma? Like, who talks ish from Petaluma? Nah, for real. Like, where I'm from, they would say you're not even fresh off the porch. You got a porch. That's it right there. If you residential, that don't necessarily mean you got a porch. You got a porch. You had one. Like, if there was anything eventful happening, anything that was hurrious, put a danger in front of it, you had to go there. Like, it's nothing in that area. That is where people feel safe. Now, it could be different now, you know. But when you was coming up, 32, it was safe. Don't it be like a lot of like flooding and stuff? I remember cutting school going. It was a group of us that we would just get on like the Muni and just go places we ain't never been. Petaluma was one. We went out there and we went to an ice cream place. And sure enough, there was a fly in my ice cream. I said, I ain't ever going to Petaluma again. Ever. That's what we did. We was off in places, where our parents would not see. You know what I'm talking about? They at work. We were in Petaluma, at the beach in Bakersby, doing stuff like that. We taking bus rides 3 hours out, you know what I'm saying? Because I did not want my father to see me. You know what I'm talking about? You never know. Not my father, you know what I'm saying? I still took chances, but you know what I'm saying? Because I was the street light kid, you know? That mean, by the time the street lights come on, you got to be in the house with your pajamas on. My father was that type of father. He was not playing. Back then, you didn't have no automated system calling telling you that your child skipped school. You know what I'm saying? And when it started, I believe I was like in middle school. Do they even have middle school anymore? Now I feel like it's elementary and then high school or something. You know, I'm a part of the era where we had middle school. We were separated from the high schoolers. We was bad. It was 6th, 7th, 8th grade. I went to so many. I went to so many middle schools. It's so many people that knew me in San Francisco just in that timeline, middle school, 6th, 7th, 8th grade. We was everywhere. I was everywhere. I was in all of the hoods. Was I off in Chinatown? I was close. I was close. We was everywhere. I was unruly as an adolescent. That's why I know about places like Petaluma. Now you better stop, cause I'm gonna tell where you at right now. You better chill. You keep talking about Brazy hideout. It's Honeycomb hideout. You are so lame. Oh my goodness. Listen, y'all, before I get up off of here, listen. I was sitting here politicking with the Akanasi, the Archangels. And I said, Apostle Creed. And they said, that's who he is.